was, not only as an instrument of human manipulation in terms of politics that we see, but as a structural phenomenon in its root, core, foundational logic. Or more bluntly, the real problem, in stark contradiction to our prevailing entrepreneurial romanticism and free market mythology, is the very nature of business itself. The inherent dynamics and incentives that are immutable to the logic of engaging and winning in competitive trade is the binding destructive force that, while creating the world we see, with some material positives, of course, is also simultaneously destroying it at a far more rapid rate in the context of sustainability and a loss of democracy, as I will discuss. And with all the debate today about party systems and corruption and lobbying and war and so on, you will notice, with the exception of, say, conversations about democratic socialism or other more or less passive, still ultimately pro-market socioeconomic adjustments, the political landscape shows very little real reflection on what the structure of our economy is actually doing. Even worse, those rare few who do approach in a critical and thoughtful way are quickly dismissed by myopic and emotional impulsive reactions and symbolic irrationality. In fact, I would have to argue that the greatest failure in the world today is that of creativity and an expanded sense of possibility. People are afraid of things they can't see, of course, or don't understand or haven't learned about. A kind of indoctrination and laziness continues to limit the debate of what our future could be, locked into bogus identity politics, isms, unnuanced childish distractions of left and right, alt-right, centric, capitalist, socialist, communist, and a host of other unnuanced labels that serve only to keep people thinking categorically, ignorant, polarized, and easily manipulated. The power of language and the associative, symbolic, myopic nature of political discourse now blinds us, and it is time we snap out of it and expand our sense of possibility.
Can we snap out of it, people? Can we snap out? Good morning, everybody. This is Gerard. Wanted to say good morning. Happy Friday to everybody. Today is the day where we can pretend we're not on a deserted island. We can pretend that we just haven't, as the 99%, taken every daggone thing good in the world and just handed it to them and invited each other over some chicken bones and they got all the good food on the plate. That was Peter Joseph. Man, you know what? I keep messing it up. I call him Joseph Peter. Deep dude, deep brother. Founder of the Zeitgeist movement. Biggest movement in the world. Won't ever hear about it on the news because they don't want y'all talking about it. They want y'all to stay on the desert island. Want you to be happy with some coconuts and some crabs. You need to be happy with them, even though they cause all kind of diarrhea and stuff. Just eat it. It's good for you. I'm hanging out with the brother Tom over here. Brother Tom making a boat because we about to get the hell up out of here. We have come to realize that this is not the place to be, that we are on a castaway earth, that there's something greater out there, right? There comes a time in your life where you realize there's something better, something a hell of a lot better than sitting where we are having diarrhea 4 or 5 times a day because you eat so many damn coconuts, a natural diuretic. So anyway, but this is from one of my favorite movies. Y'all should check it out. It's a it's a documentary. It's a documentary called what's the name of that documentary again? It's called Castaway. Castaway, great documentary. And so just to kind of sum it up for y'all. So the brother was on the island. He was on this island called Earth, and he just thought that, you know, this is what I got, where I got to live. I'm just going to be here for a long time. And the God sent him a blessing. The God sent him a blessing, and it was called Wilson. Wilson came down to bless him. He was by himself on this island called Earth. He would talk to himself. His family and friends, they didn't know what the hell was going on. They had no idea that there was anything more out there. They just thought it was the island. We just going to live on the island. So he hadn't had nobody to talk to. So he figured he'd talk to somebody, and he found Wilson. And what he did with Wilson, one day Wilson pissed him off, and Wilson didn't really speak back too much. And so he kicked Wilson off the earth, right? and I think he cut his hand. I forgot. I don't know the detail. I'm a little old. I forget the details. And Wilson ended up getting the face. See, and that's a good story in the fact that, you know, sometimes when you do what you got to do and you hurt yourself, bad thing, but bad things turn for good. Sometimes, you know, as that scripture say, God meant it for good, Satan meant it for evil, something like that. Anyway, but but eventually Wilson wasn't enough. And Tom had decided that this ain't gonna work for me. This earth, this castaway nonsense stuff, this living in scarcity just isn't going to work for me. I need to go to abundant lands. And so he just decided, I'm done. I'm seeing y'all. Y'all can't figure it out. Left his family on the island. And I made up that part, but don't worry about that. And ventured out into the sea. So Tom and I, we're going to get on this damn boat. There's some sharks out there, and it's all kind of waves and stuff. We may not make it, but you know what? At a certain point in time, you realize that this right here, it's got to stop. This ignorant earth castaway, societal, debt-based, monetary, planned obsolescent society, it's got to come to an end, because I'm not giving up my freedom. You can't have my cornbread. It's just not going to happen. And so I think we're getting to a place in society where a lot of people are starting to wake the hell up. I'm feeling pretty good personally. But if not, I'm still getting on the boat. I get out of here, because I don't do, oh Lord, we talked about it yesterday. I don't do mud cakes, but we're going to talk about some mud cakes in a minute. That's a serious topic, but it's important for people to realize how the story ends. You know, there's a famous, I think he was a talk show host by the name of Paul Harvey. He used to always say, and this is the rest of the story. Like, he would say, but he said it in a sexy way. He was like, he had a deep voice. I got to put the mic in my face. And this is the rest of the story. Like he did that. He was like that baritone in church who sing and, you know, start singing, everybody, catch the spirit. But anyway, but you need to think about the rest of the story. I think about another famous brother. There was another famous brother, and I think I named this live stream after him. It's another famous brother. He went by the name of, what was his name? Goodness gracious. You know what? I don't even have his picture. I thought I had his picture queued up. He went by the name of Wimpy. He was on a documentary called Popeye. I think all these things are documentaries. I know, I kind of laugh and joke a little bit, but I think the human brain works in that way when it's trying to convey a message, and just these messages get downloaded and they get manifested in Hollywood and Bollywood. And did y'all know Nollywood? Nollywood is from Nigeria. It is the #2 biggest movie industry in the world, which is why it's a whole lot of money in Nigeria, not just the minerals, but Nollywood. I didn't know that, but one of the poorest countries on the planet. Makes no damn sense. But so is Haiti, and thus the mud cakes. But Brother Wimpy, what he would say, I'd gladly trade my children, the next generation, for some mud cakes today. That's what he said. No, he did not say that. He did. I'd gladly trade away my children's freedom to get back at those damn Republicans today. He didn't say that neither. I'd gladly trade my grandbaby's freedom to get back at those darn liberals today. He ain't say that neither. But if you're thinking, if you got your thinking cap on and you think about where all of this goes, the rest of the story, you got to focus on what we do today and the things we support. So I love me some Peter Joseph. The brother is deep, Zeitgeist movement. And one of the things he taught, I'm sorry, I didn't say hi there. See, am I talking to myself? Let me see if I got anybody watching me this morning. But I talk to myself. Like, I had no issue with that. I talked to Wilson. I talked to, hey, listen, you listening? We got to talk. Let's do some dialogue here. Dialogue is how we get somewhere. But yeah, we got Renee and Kevin's in the house. Ain't seen you in a minute, brother. What's going on? And Sandra. It's a whole bunch of other people I can't see. Renee, I don't know why they hide stuff on this. Deborah. Brother Al says, I'm here in the house. What's up, Al? Lynn and Brother Billy. Jenny and Lynn and Chris. What's up, Chris? All right, Georgia and Robin. All right, Kristen. Okay. Oh my goodness, Chris. It's Muhammad. What y'all on work today? Why is everybody on here today? We got Sister May in the house and Jeannie. I'm seeing a whole bunch of people I ain't never seen before. What y'all don't pick no cotton today? Is today? Did y'all send out an email? Was it a tweet? Because I don't watch Twitter. I'm still trying to figure out how to use that tool. But is it an email with y'all on work today or something? Y'all need to get some lives, man. Y'all on here talking crazy stuff. So, but how's everybody doing? If I missed you, good morning, good morning. Oh, and by the way, I know I don't have a consistent live stream time. If anybody wants to know when I go live, I got it set up now so that when I go live, it tweets out on Twitter. It's on my Facebook page if you want to get a twit, or whatever y'all call that damn thing to let you know that something's happening in the fake virtual world. It tweets when I do this nonsense. So anyway, Peter Joseph, oh man, deep brother. He throw the punches, boy. Peter does not play. He will get you to question your own isms, your own indoctrination. That's why I love deep thinkers. I love people that just really make you question yourself. You know, if you don't question yourself, this isn't a broadcast for you. You should go. I think they got some cats on the other channel. Somebody got some kittens or something. Nothing against no kittens or nothing. It's just it ain't always kitten time. Sometimes you got to talk about important stuff. But if you were like me, you like my friends, we like to question ourselves all the time to make sure that we are in the right place and we're heading in the right direction. It's okay for us to be wrong. We don't have to be right. In fact, very few things do we think we're right about. We just want to make sure we take a step in the right direction and we learn something, and in the next foot take another step in the right direction and then learn something, and that's kind of how humans evolve. So we want to get back to that. That's real cool. This whole pausing on the island where we stopped evolution to talk to Wilson, we don't do that no more. So, but one of the things he said in that talk, I think I posted that talk this morning, deep lecture. They have a YouTube channel, and I think it's called the Zeitgeist. It's called TMZ. What is it called? But if you watch the video, you can. It's called TZM Official Channel, where you can actually stay up to date with his lectures and some good stuff he was coming up with. But he hit real hard with something. He talked about the very purpose of business, like the very existence of it, is a problem. That is deep to me. That's deep. I've always owned a business since I was a little kid. You know, my first business was not my first slave business where my brother got me to be I was in slavery. Listen, he had me on the golf course selling golf balls to golfers. I don't know. He got old. We used to go and, well, he was old. He was 10. He wasn't cute anymore. And so he strolled me out on the golf course because I was younger. And we used to go swim in the ponds with the chemicals that they killed the frogs with. But that's another story. We didn't die from that. And alligator snapping turtles. We collect golf balls, right? And he was the miser. You know, he realized we could go sell the golf balls back to the golfers. But he got too old for that. And he realized, I'm not selling golf balls. And so he brought me into his business where, you know, he'd make 25 cents and I'd make 5 cents for the golf ball. And so he strolled me out there. Mister, would you like to buy some golf balls? But that's another whole story. That was my first business. Illegal as all hell. But I was enterprising. We some enterprising kids. You scarcity in my family, you got to be enterprising. My father made it very clear. My money is my money. It ain't your money. So we went out to make our own money. But anyway, but it was deep what he talked about in terms of business. I've always owned a business. I love entrepreneurship. But our model is sick. There's nothing wrong with owning a business, but it's the system we live in. This is what we're always talking about, how the system we live in is sick. We need to stop attacking the side effects and attack the system. But the very essence of that business is sick. And I came to this realization. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I'm thinking. So my grandfather used to work for the demon. He used to work. He went to church. Don't say that. He used to work for Monsanto. But now, technically, they weren't Monsanto at the time. They were some chemical company. And you know how these companies get big and they buy up other companies and they became Monsanto, whatever. And actually, I have family members that work for Monsanto. And it's easy for me to sit back and say, they the demon, Monsanto. But the reality is, almost all of us work for some very heinous corporations. Very heinous. They're always up to despicable things. Not because they're despicable, but because when profit is the bottom line and you're competing with other corporations and profit is the bottom line, they will always get to a place where human life and human rights means absolutely nothing, or if not even a line item on a bullet item in a board meeting somewhere. And so if we can accept this, I know people sitting back, I ain't no Monsanto. You saying I'm good. I'm a good person. I got good in me. And I don't, they're evil and they're killing people. They murdered a whole bunch of people in that town. Was it Monsanto town? Y'all remember they killed all them people because they was dumping in the water? Not to mention the millions of people they killed since with the herbicide and pesticides. But I'm not hating, because almost all corporations are involved in that, right? You might be working for the company that makes the grease that goes on a ball bearing that goes inside the tank that murders people, right? We all work for corporations because all of this stuff is connected, and it's all based in greed. And the reality that I think you got to swallow so you cannot judge is that if you were born in the place where that Monsanto CEO was born, you had his mama, you had his daddy, you had his genetics, you went to the schools he went to, you got locked in the locker that they locked him in. You went to the high school, you went to the college, got that degree, had those friends. You would be selling poison all over this planet, just like him. I think it's a him. If not, I don't want to be hating her. Whoever just like her, whoever's running Monsanto, you would be just like him. The pharmaceutical companies we talk about, you'd be just like them. The bankers we talk about, you'd be just like them. The criminals you like to talk about, you'd be just like them. And so the reality is, environment causes people to become what they do. But because we don't listen to very smart people like Peter Joseph, we have these sick systems that are greed-based. Now, mind you, we never really knew, right? We never had the internet to really highlight the evils that we are just beginning to know about, that corporations can manifest, like forcing children to eat mud cakes. But, oh my God, Haiti. So the depth of that concept, at the very basis of a business based in greed, has to go away, right? And this is not an anti-capitalist message. That's not where I'm going. In fact, we got time, we're going to talk about this sister in France. Young millennial, smart girl, talking about some communism, and they hating on her, shutting her page. But anyway, we'll talk about that. It's not anti-capitalism. This is never let something come between a human being and life, right? Never let greed serve a function in your society where it can take life from a human being anywhere on the planet, right? That basic ethics. So it's not a business thing. And it's not even an oligarch and a banker and what do y'all think's running the world? The Illuminati and Masons and aliens. It's not even that. It's whenever you build a system where the basis of that system, that staple, is the requirement for a business to succeed, it will compete to a point where it does not give a damn. Monsanto has done that, and they suck at PR. That's the difference between your company and Monsanto. For the most part, if you work for a massive corporation, Monsanto just sucks at PR. They're going to get a hell of a lot better than it, though. They joined up with Bayer, and they got that pharmaceutical money. Oh, they're going to get great at it, and that's why they're changing their name. But it's the same thing with us, right? Think about us. A lot of us, all of us, not even a lot, all of us have a heritage back to slavery, right? Number one, because we're all related, we're all cousins. But number two, every culture, every ethnicity has been walked into slavery, every single one. So if we have a history back to that, but we live in a time where we know all of this crap that we have in the Western world comes from slave labor, have we not to some degree sold out? Are we truly that much better than Monsanto? I know that's pushing it. That's pushing a little bit. Look, I'm pushing the limits. I mean, there's some evil, but we know about their dirt. We know about their evil. But don't we know people? Don't we have friends and family that are complicit with the world the way it is? Don't we know friends who are, hold on, I'm gonna have to switch. Don't we know friends and family that don't want things to change? I'm in Haiti, y'all. Don't we have friends and family that are completely fine with the devastation around the world as long as they get theirs, right? Don't we have friends that don't get that the inevitable future of the world are the canaries in the coal mine? When the first economies that start to destabilize and how those people live, that is our future. And this is what I mean by the title in terms of mud cakes. There are children in Haiti that eat as a staple for food cakes and cookies that are made of mud. That is not a fake story. That is very true. And this is a very small country, Haiti. I got a lot of friends that will tell you, well, why didn't people step in? Why didn't government step in? Oh, they did. And the billions of dollars that went to Haiti never went to Haiti. But nobody likes to ask those questions. Why don't we like to ask those questions? Well, because the pockets that they're sitting in, maybe we like the pockets that they're sitting in. Maybe we're okay with that. Maybe because we like the politicians or the leaders who took it. Maybe we voted for them. Maybe because we think our politicians wouldn't do it. Maybe we're just okay with it and we don't want to admit it. And this is why it was deep and it took me down this thought process. Let me show you this picture. And I could have swore I posted it yesterday. And I look at this stuff, man, and it really pisses me off. It really does. It sends me to a place because we're okay with this. We're okay because it's not us and it's not our kids. We're okay with it because we don't see that we're actually trading our iPhones today. We're trading our cars today. We're trading our ignorance and our greed and this idea that we can be one group centric, our isms, and we're going to talk about some Russian racism in a minute too. And it's not going to come back and bite us. And it's always going to come back and bite us. They are merely the canaries in the coal mine. And what do I mean by that? If you're not familiar with that term, the coal miners, when they went into the coal mine, they would always take birds with them. I know, that's some bird racism, but they would. That's what human beings do. We a silly, dumb bunch, but we get smarter over time, but we got to keep talking to get smarter. Because when the miners go down in the mines, they would run into pockets of gas, right? And they couldn't smell the odorless gases that would kill them. And so they would take the birds, because the birds were highly sensitive to those gases, and they have I guess the way their lungs work, they would die first. And so they would take the canaries down in the coal mine because there was some canary racism. They hated canaries worse. And they'd take the canaries down in. And when the canaries died, the miners would get the hell out of there. And so that's where that term came from, canaries in the coal mine. Haiti is merely a canary in the coal mine. If you know what, you ever want to bless yourself sometime, look into the history of Haiti and understand why Haiti is poor. No, it's not because they got black skin. No, it's not because they came from Africa. The reason why they're poor is because they were the first colony to say, F you. I know, I'm not supposed to do that, but I did it anyway because I was a little pissed off this morning. They were the first colony to say, F you to colonialism. They threw out the French and they said, we don't want to have nothing to do with y'all. We don't have nothing to do with colonialism. And so the French backed away from them. And the whole Western world that believes in that manifest destiny, that colonialism that we still do today, that everybody on all the politic sides, they all don't talk about because they're complicit with, because we do it still today. They walked away from it. They revolted and they got their freedom. They were the wealthiest. They were the wealthiest colony in the world at the time. Look at the history of Haiti. But because they said no, we won't go, they wouldn't trade with Haiti. They pushed Haiti out, and Haiti fell into immense poverty. So it's not that Haiti just began in the last 6 months, 6 years, when you do your research, you'll find out where the money for Haiti went. But the point about Haiti is they're the canary in the coal mine. When you step outside of this greed-based system that at the deepest levels must understand that you got to have this complicity with not respecting human rights, not respecting human life. They will shun you. They will shun you as much as the political parties do. So I don't want to go down that road too deep. It's just I saw this yesterday and it kind of blew me away, and I thought it was something that I wanted to talk about. Look up. There are recipes for mud cakes online. It might be interesting for you guys to look that up. Make sure you get your mud recipes and download them, because damn it, your kids are going to need them. If you don't need them, your kids are going to need them. And it's just the craziest thing on the planet that people in a country like Haiti could be so destroyed by pushed aside because all they wanted was freedom. And so anyway, I'm gonna get off of that. So now, where am I at? I'm too small. I'm in this is Sarah Connor. This is Sarah Connor, y'all. Y'all know Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor. Look up her story. She'll bless you. Her story bless you too. This is from another documentary I love. It was called The Terminator. That's where we're gonna go right now. It's called The Terminator. So we got some fun stuff on this whole let's march down and give the world to the 1%, because we love them so much and they just love us. They're gonna take care of us. Whoo! On the technology front, we got something happening this morning, y'all. Anyway. Yeah, everybody already posted it. They all over the thread right there. They tell you exactly where the money went. The Haiti money. Oh, look at that. Sometimes I'll ask a question. I'm curious because, anyway, I'll ask questions on my thread. People, they came real quick. We know right where the money went. So anyway, so I'm hanging out with Sarah Connor because you know what? Sarah, she knew what was coming. She saw the canary die. She saw the canary eat the mud cake and die. And she said, you know what? I'm going to get the hell out of here. We need to be Sarah. We need to be some Sarahs. We need to be people who are actually looking at the signs of where this world is going. And we need to prepare. I'm not saying be your doomsday prepper. I'm just saying this world is heading in a negative place. And so it's not just about knowing the truth, questioning your own truth, letting other people know the truth, to try to stop this progression, if not slow it down a little bit, if not save who we can by holding back the greed flood. Thinking about, walking away from a corporation you work for, thinking about walking away from a career that you were given that you didn't really know how complicit you were in handing this world to the 1%. But it's also about preparing. It's also about making sure you got a place to be and you got something to eat, because bad times always come. And like I always say, now is the best time on the planet to plant yourself some seeds, know how to take care of yourself, because you never know when you're going to become a Haiti. You never know if it's your kids who are going to become the Haitis when you get ostracized or pushed aside because you don't want to be complicit with slavery like all the political parties in this world, all the groups and the leaders who don't talk about it, but they know it exists. So take care of yourself. Know how to take care of yourself, because your grandparents did. They all had pantries and foods, and they all had made sure that they would be okay. They took care of their neighbors. Why? Because security, national security, like I say, is the same thing as community security. When you take care of your neighbors, they look out for you. When you look out for them, they look out for you. Work together, stuff like that. So in technology news, oh man, I'm just like, oh Lord, I saw this. I was like, this is crazy. So, oh man, look, they've been working on this technology. Oh my gosh, let me show you this. This is some insanity. They've been working on this technology. Invisibility cloaks. And you know what? I think I saw this a long time ago. Let me go back to this. I think I saw this a long time ago. And you kind of look at things, you're like, oh, well, they're probably far off from developing it. Invisibility cloaks. So it's not that we have to deal with death killer robots, which is why I'm in the Terminator. But, the reality probably is you're not ever going to see them coming. There is, look at this. Let me see. I got this queued up. This is just that ridiculous. Oh, I'm not queued up. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I am. I might have to leave Sarah. Am I? Hold on. Technology. Let me do this. All right, here we go. So apparently, they done had this for a while. And anytime that they release and let us know in the mainstream technology that is just beyond imagination, it means they've already had it, right? Anytime that it's released and they're starting to say, you know what, we can kind of let the 99% know some of the stuff that we actually have, it means that it's already been there for a while. Check this out.
It was once something that belonged only to science fiction, but now Japanese researchers have created technology that's the first step towards making objects invisible.
The technology comes from 2003, but its developers say the Harry Potter-like invisibility cloak is just the beginning. The team, led by Dr. Susumu Tachi from Keio University, is now adapting its findings to help pilots, drivers, doctors, and others. Retroreflective projection technology uses a computer, a video camera, and projector to shine.
Do y'all see this? And this is old news. This is news from 2009, talking about technology from 2003, which if it hit the public domain in Japan in 2003, it means that its military application was already done. Do you see how crazy this is? So it's not even about the murder, death, kill robots coming. It's about you won't even see them. And this is why I'm thinking, y'all, that we don't really have time. We sit back here and we can argue, fuss, and fight. And what the hell was that? Y'all see that? That was crazy. That's some craziness. We don't have time to sit back and argue, fuss, and fight, because now what we got to deal with is robots that we can't even see coming. Think about invisible drones. Think about what's there that you don't even know was there. I know I'm hating on Boston Dynamics. I love me some Boston Dynamics, but but this company, you could have robots, you could have drones and not even know they're there. This is why Terminator actually wasn't a documentary. We lost Terminator, y'all. That was a lie. Because if they got robots that can do stuff like this, they got drones that can do. Our sky right now could be full of drones, no matter where you are. Don't believe the hype. Never believe a lie. By the time they release that thing to the general public, it means it's already perfected. It's already there and being released from a military perspective. And so, yeah, and Mary said another great tech is holograms. So they got the holograms, they got invisible robots, invisible soldiers. I guarantee they got invisible tanks. There's no question about that, invisible ships. And maybe this is why Washington's lost its ever-loving mind and has for decades, where they're now attempting to take over the whole freaking world, possibly because they have technology that they know is completely unopposable. So, but the crazy thing to think about is if we now know about the holograms, we now know about the invisibility, and they've perfected it and deployed it to a point where they've decided that they can let it be used in the public domain for tiddlywinks or cars or whatever they say it's going to be used for. We in big trouble. We in big trouble. And so, things to pay attention to. Okay, so another one was North Korea. So North Korea, so of course the North Koreans are gonna go and lead their way into the Olympics all under the same flag. And now I guess you got the different sides taking credit for it. Some say it's because the president's currently being tough Others are saying because it's sanctions of the last president. Others are saying it's the wisdom of King Young Jum Sum Dum Ill. And I'm just saying we never should have got here. Why did we ever get to a place where we're actually starving people? Why did we ever get to a place where we dropped more bombs on North Korea than we dropped all throughout the rest of World War II? Something crazy like that. Why did we get to a place where we thought it was a good idea to murder all these people and think that they wouldn't try to defend themselves by getting a nuclear weapon? But I think that crisis is over. Personally, I think my thought, and I don't know nothing because I'm in the 99%, so I'm not allowed to know no truth about nothing. My thought is North Korea got their nuke, and now they're willing to make friends with the world because they know America is not coming. They know the way, and I say America, but it's the West, and then it's just banks. But they know that they're not coming. So now they're making peace with South Korea because they know they can do anything they want. They will be unopposed for the most part. Because that's what nuclear weapons do. When you have the weapon, you're safe. And so I think it's all over with, unless we do something stupid. Christina, what you say? Aren't we all the invisible person when we use the internet? Are we all the invisible person when we? I think where you're going with that is it's how people act differently online. How when they get a profile, they get a fake identity, an avatar, whatever you want to call it. They become different people. I think there are some fake people online, and I think there are some invisible people. You do got comment thugs, people who they just in real life, they wouldn't say a damn thing to you, but in comments, they puff up that chest, they're ready to go. You do have a lot of that. But I think that's just a progression. I think that, when new technology comes out, we have to figure out how to use it best. And at a certain point in time, people online will be people who they are in real life. I just think right now, it's the wild, wild west. And so things go crazy. Speaking of that, you took me down an avenue. Wasn't there? I saw something that I thought was interesting on some Russian racism. Russia, they always up to something. What they do now? They did something, and now Twitter had a response for them. We're going to talk about some Russian racism today. Because y'all think it's okay to be racist against Russia. I don't know why. It's bad when somebody's being racist to you, but it's good to be racist to Russia. I don't understand. But, I figure you know what you're doing. Let me see. Oh man, I hate commercials. Yeah, business. Whatever. We just talked about y'all. Y'all bad people. We don't need business. We need business for. Oh, I didn't wrap up that point. Hold on, let me wrap up that point. So when it comes to, I'm not saying business is bad. I'm saying business's motives can be profit, or it can be progression of humanity, right? Like currency is not the only thing. It is a thing. We can build a model where businesses are paid based on credits, whatever you want to call it, that are directly related to how far they take humanity down this evolutionary path, right? So businesses can still exist, absolutely, and they can still succeed, but we have to make their staple currency benefiting humanity, not a inanimate object or a digital income that will reduce the significance of anything that gets in its way, whether that be poisoning a river somewhere or starting a war or letting people eat mud cakes. Like all of it's related. So I didn't finish that thought, and I'm sorry about that. But in terms of, I'm not saying we can't have a type of a currency. We can still have a type of a currency, and even a type of a currency, and even a type of a capitalistic system. But it can't be an inanimate object, and it can't be in a system that allows people to die for it. That's what let me finish that. Okay, so let's check this out.
Metro, the train drivers are reportedly refusing to stop at certain stations.
That's the wrong one.
According to a letter written by a union.
That's the wrong one. We're gonna talk. That's some.
Social media giants Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube have again been grilled over alleged Russian interference in the US presidential election.
I'm assuming that none of you have any doubt that the Russians meddled in our 2016 election and attacked our democracy. Any question? None.
Technology. It's only the latest US Senate hearing the three social media giants have participated in. This time round, Twitter also announced it was preparing a tool to warn users about Russian trolls. The idea has already sparked concern over just how trolls will actually be identified. RT's Daniel Hawkins takes a closer look.
This time, they've been grilled at a US Senate committee session about dealing with terrorist content and other dangerous materials.
A letter that I wrote calling on these companies to individually inform all users who were exposed to false, misleading, and inflammatory posts generated by Russian agents.
We will be working to identify and inform individually the users who may have been exposed to the IRA accounts during the election.
Now, Facebook already enables users to check if they've been exposed to Russian bots and trolls from an apparent Russian troll factory named the Internet Research Agency, which sowed division and mistrust.
Okay, I'm going to stop there for a minute because I want to explain something. So first of all, the idea that government should be involved in your cafe conversations is a mistake. Why is it important to people all over the world if you're not in America? Because your country doesn't exist and America doesn't exist. These are all just different projects handed down to different countries that eventually will come to your little border area country cow farm, right? So if it's happening here, it's going to happen there. So what all this basically is the government wants to control the internet. That's what it comes down to. They're using the election in Russia and all Russian racism and all this lies. They've already proven that Russia had no significant influence in the election. It's been proven over and over and over and over and over again. And even in the first hearing, if you didn't watch the first hearing, this is the second one. I didn't watch the second one. Even in the first one, they proved that Russia had almost no significant, and it wasn't even Russia. And that's why it's racism, is that because it had to do with a few people in Russia. Do you know how dumb, prejudiced, and racist you sound by targeting an entire country by a few people who push some instability in a couple thousand people in America because of some posts? It's just ridiculous, dumb, and stupid. But anyway, so they're trying to usurp control of the internet. And it's just their next narrative in how to get control of it. And because you got a lot of people who didn't win and they're pissed off with Russia, they jump in with the Russian racism and they don't realize they're being played, where this is just a government scheme to actually control social media companies, which is basically, they're just cafes, right? We walk in a cafe, you have a conversation. But now these are conversations that involve thousands, if not millions of people. And so they want to control that. And so how do they do that? They get a bunch of suckers who don't really understand that they're just taking rights of freedom of speech. And so that's where this is going. So outside of the fact that a government should not ever have the ability to control your conversation in a damn cafe, outside of that, and the silly people who are actually cheering this, so Twitter is going to identify, and this is what they have been doing, identifying the trolls. So walking us up to a point, I just want to show you they got an engineer from Twitter, and this is him explaining how they identify the trolls. This is where all the racism and the isms and the prejudice comes in. This is why censoring is bad. Now listen to what this man says.
Just go to a random tweet and like just look at the followers. They'll all be like guns, God, America. Like with the American flag and like the cross. Yeah, no one really. Like who says that? Who talks like that? It's for sure a bot.
Who says that? Who does that? It is for sure a bot. So what they're doing is they're actually looking at social media accounts' tweets, and they're determining based on your profile and what you say, if they don't agree with it, that you're an actual bot. And so this is what people are seeing, and they're getting their accounts deleted. But they're going to get warnings now, posts that says, hey, this person is a bot, because possibly politically they didn't agree. And so this is why I'm saying that these things easily can totally get out of control. You know, what this engineer said is completely wrong. So, oh, there aren't people who talk about God, guns, and books. What did he say? God, guns, and Bible, and all that stuff. Yes, there are. I got a ton of friends that talk like that. Are you kidding me? And it's just, and they're real people. Everybody has different hobbies, but if you have unpopular hobbies, if you are an unpopular group, if you are an unpopular ism, then this is how they censor things. And so this is all a really, really sick, bad idea, and it's still based on this racism. And what I need you to do, if you got a brain in your head, intellect, you give a damn about not eating mud cakes, your kids not eating mud cakes in the future, is don't get behind this. Don't support this. Social media companies need to run their company the way they want to run their company. See, for them, they're just a business. What if Facebook and Twitter were actually paid based in what they did for humanity, for all the conversations they opened up, for all the media ghettos and the blackout areas where no information is coming into the world? What if they actually were paid based on that, for benefiting, getting humanity off the castaway island and moving us back forward with living in some sort of a abundant, non-scarce, sustainable society? But the problem is people get emotional. They go down these paths, they get angry, and they join in with these races. And this is why I call it Russian racism. It's important that we call it what it is. It is an ism. It is an ism. And it is based on hate. And if they can get you to hate a group of people, then they can get you to be okay with bombing those people. They can get you to be okay with looking at those people like they're not human beings. And it's okay that they eat some mud cakes and mud cookies. So anyway, let's keep going. I started to go down this avenue. I think we're going to France. We go to France. Go to France. Yeah, I know. Y'all, we had that French racism too, where y'all were pouring I hate commercials. Y'all were pouring the French wine down the daggone drain. Yeah, y'all didn't see that in France. Any of my friends in France. But yeah, they were pouring your wine down the drains. They were mad, but because you didn't want to go bomb and murder a bunch of people during the first Gulf War. Y'all knew that it was a lie and it was fake. Y'all didn't want to go, but then anyway, that's another story. We got past that. We're gonna move on. Let's keep moving. Look at this.
So bad on parts of the Paris metro that train drivers are reportedly refusing to stop at certain stations. That's according to a letter written by a union which represents the metro and bus network in the capital. RT's Charlotte Dubinsky jumped on board to find out if those fears are grounded.
For most Parisians, the metro is a staple of life. With its winding tunnels and lines that stretch across the city, it's often the easiest way to get from A to B. But down in the underground, the gritty underbelly of the capital is being exposed.
Drug-related crime and violence has been a long-standing issue on Paris's metro, but now the unions representing the train drivers say it's spiralling out of control. Dealers and users, including those taking crack cocaine, are no longer hiding what they're doing. They're openly lighting up.
Dirty, nasty, disgusting, evil people who have bifurcated tails and horns, the dregs of society, the most horrible people that belong in cages smaller than what you would put a monkey in, the dealers, the users, the horrible crack cocaine baby nasties. Y'all listen to this. This is the BS that I flip out about. This is what I flip out about, right? So once again, the subways in France are falling apart, and at certain cities in France, just like America, like anywhere else there's poverty, people fall into using drugs. They're not demons. They're not evil. They're not foul. They are people who are down on their luck. They lost the birth stork lottery. They ended up with a family or conditions or situations or jobs that landed them down on their luck. And what happened is what happens in all depressions, all times of downturns in the economy and poverty. What do people do? What always sells in bad times? Things that make you feel good. Because those are the things that get you to the next day. Those are the things that make you happy. In bad times, alcohol sales are up. In bad times, drug use is up. So I thought, just thought, I'm just going to put it out there for a minute. I know it's a lot of intellectuals in France, and they might actually fall into the fact that this is a side effect conversation. If you don't want poverty, you don't want crime, you don't want drug use, stop screwing up your society. Take care of your people. get rid of your scarcity model and move over to an abundance model. Listen to somebody like Peter Joseph, because we know that this works. Crime is a direct relationship to the economy, to jobs. It always has been. And I hate the word job. That's the wrong word. Crime, it has a direct relationship to a lack of abundance. When people don't have, they become racist. When people don't have, they do drugs. When people don't have, they drink. Too excessive, right? And so ignorance, but again, I think we have to have these conversations in a 99% perspective. So the 99% perspective is this is happening everywhere. This is not a France issue. This is everywhere. We embrace the idea that we should all live in this competitive model, just like corporations do, like Monsanto, where we fight each other and we teach our kids to fight and become competitive, and whoever makes the most money wins. We have no other choice to become just like the corporations that we hate and we talk about, which is what a lot of our friends and family are. Which actually brings something to mind. It's a whole bunch of stuff this morning. I have to limit what I show. We don't have a whole lot of time. But it reminds me of something else I wanted to show you right here. Look at this. This is just damn ridiculous. The stuff that, oh man, hold on.
Prezi.
I have to fade the daggone commercial out. But look at this. Battle on the ice. A junior hockey team beating the hell out of each other. And of course, this is in Russia. And you might say, oh, that's some Russian racism. You know, no, I'm sorry. This happens in America, happens everywhere. When you raise children to be violent, they will be violent. When you raise them to be competitive with violence, they'll be competitive with violence. When you raise them to get a job, be a banker, investment banker, whatever, in France, and they can't get a job, they're going to live on the subway and be a drug user. Like, this is how this goes. But when you raise children to contribute to an economy, to contribute to humanity, a humane economy, then children grow up competing for who can do the most for humanity. When corporations compete to see who can do the most to evolve us further away from war and more towards peace and save lives, then they compete to see who, like, what if we actually change our society so we don't compete to push each other into poverty, but we compete to help each other? How crazy would that be? Doesn't that sound like some Christianity, y'all? Isn't that crazy? Doesn't that sound like some Muslims, doesn't that sound like some Islam? Doesn't that sound like some Jewish? Doesn't that sound like all of the wise things that people talk as opposed to the lies about what they deploy? I always love, who was the brother? George Carlin. Was it George? No, but George Carlin. It was from the Venus Project. Jacques Fresco. I love what he says about Christianity. And I'm a Christian, so don't get mad at me. I'm a Christian I was born there. It was my stork lottery, and it's what I believe, but it's not a group I'm affiliated with because I don't believe in groups. I don't believe in isms. I'm not an ism person. That's just my belief. It's for me. It's in my inside. Anyway, so what he says Christianity. He said, that's a great idea. He said, you think we ever going to do it? It is. It's the funniest thing. You know what? The day I meet a Christian, I'm not even sure if I'm a Christian, to be honest with you, but maybe we'll meet one. But damn sure ain't one that believes in greed in this monetary society. So, but if you raise kids to compete and be violent in this way, they will be. And that's why that exists. Here's another fun thing. You know, we talked about bonobos in a while back and how they evolved. Look at this. Look at this. Y'all see this? Anybody watching this damn tiger? It's a tiger playing with a ball. And she kicking the ball. And the tiger's not eating her foot. Why in the hell do you think that is? Because that tiger is not hungry, number one. And number two, they solve scarcity for the tiger. That tiger doesn't need to live in a subway and do drugs. That tiger doesn't need to eat human foots. That tiger will play with a ball because it's happy. You know, and it's just like we have example upon example upon example in not only the wild kingdom, but from really smart people that foul things occur because we allow scarcity to exist. Can we move forward and get rid of scarcity? Like, wouldn't that be a great thing? Let me see what else we got. A few more. I'm gonna wrap up. So there was a whole bunch of stuff I was looking at this morning I thought was interesting. What did Apple do? Oh, Apple Jobs coming back. I don't know if y'all saw that. So this my Trump friends gonna love this one. They gonna hit y'all. Listen. Hold on.
Don't settle for black.
Oh no, that wasn't it.
Apple has long been criticized for its huge cash pile of some $250 billion that it made through its foreign subsidiaries, but refused to repatriate to the US in order to avoid paying US taxes. That's 94% of its total cash. Under the new tax bill passed at the end of last year, Apple and other multinationals got what they long wanted, a reduction in the tax rate on those holdings from 38% to 15.5%. However, Apple has to pay that 15.5% whether it repatriates the money or not.
So my take on that, I'm not going to go down too far down that road. It's just ideas, right? People hate Trump. People love Trump. I hate saying the names, but whatever the 1%'s telling him to do, Apple's coming back. Some of y'all think that's a great idea. Jobs. Me personally, some of y'all think it's a horrible idea. No, my perspective is, so if the tax cut helped them 38% to 15%, what 15%, somebody should look up what 15% of what Apple's profit would mean for whatever country they're operating in. What if you took that 15% and you did a universal basic income with it? You probably wouldn't have to, you probably, all your crime in your subways would probably go away. And universal basic income, just to kind of explain it, I wasn't for it at first because I didn't understand it. Until I had it explained to me, there was a great podcast Peter Joseph did where he was questioning the guys on the universal basic income because he really wasn't for it either, but he understood it's a stopgap solution, right? It's not about paying people to do nothing. It's about making sure people have food, water, and a house, right? If people have that, and who's going to pay for it? You don't have to pay for it, man. So calm down, relax. Your taxes don't go up. When you take money, instead of taking the tax break and letting the corporation keep it, and you take that tax break and you give it back to the people the same way they do in Alaska, because Alaska, they got the universal basic income where they force the oil companies to actually pay the Alaskan citizens for raping, destroying, killing their polar bears and pouring oil all in the lakes and the rivers and everything. They pay the Alaskan citizens. So it's already being done, and it doesn't come from anybody paying taxes. It just simply comes from these ignorantly wealthy corporations that probably shouldn't exist anyway, who are all up to really horrible, horrible things, and they have these greed-based models. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna see. But I'm pushing close on the time here. Let me see what y'all are talking about, because I don't want it to be about me. Let me get that Apple off the screen. I am not an Apple person. Apple, they love slavery a little too much for me. So let me see if I said anything I pissed anybody off today. It's Friday. I'm trying to talk, sometimes people get upset with you. Let me see. Lions, tigers, bears, snakes. Oh my, yes, always some stuff we're supposed to be scared of, but it's the animal kingdom, right? It's wild. We have wild in us because we evolved wild. We evolved this weird sense of needing water and food and a place to live. And if corporations withhold us and a debt-based society keeps that from us, then people do what they have to survive. Alcohol and drug sales are up in good and bad times. Sister Lynn said, yeah, that's true. Well, people do like to feel good and they like their medicine too. But it's the one thing that doesn't go down, right? And bad times occur, the sales continue to go up while sales of everything else goes down. Let me see. You can't control the masses without oppression. It's the best way to control them. And that's how you get people to fight in wars. And that's how you get them to support Russian racism. And that's how you get them to support taking your rights. And that's how you get them to support taking people's guns. Oh, speaking of guns, it was something I posted this morning I thought was interesting. It was, dagnabbit, I forgot. It was somebody talking about, I have to go to my page. There was something really deep this morning I was looking at. It was brother Lionel. Lionel was talking about the The missile warning in Hawaii, right? So, you know, his point, well, y'all should watch that. Brother Lionel, real smart. He was talking about how it's just, it was a beta test, right? Where they released a message, an incoming ballistic missile or whatever, and everybody got scared. Then it wasn't no accident. They do this stuff to test and try to figure out how people are going to respond. It's just like the Boston bombing where they suspended rights. See if people will accept it and to see if people would clap for it or they'd be against it. And there's also the one he didn't talk about was Katrina, right? During Hurricane Katrina, what did they do? They went and started taking everybody's guns. Then we did videos upon videos on the internet during Hurricane Katrina of them, and wasn't a black thing, wasn't a white thing, because you got police tackling old people, taking their guns. It's the one where they were fighting this old Caucasian, European white lady, and they're beating her down and stuff, taking her gun. And I'm just like, this is insanity. But these things are like beta tests. They do things to see how we're going to respond, right? Because it's always, to me, it's a test in understanding how dumb are they? How much rights can we take? How much will they accept, you know? And so they're constantly using disasters, if not false flags, to determine if people are going to actually stand up for their neighbors or stand up for their rights, or if they can keep walking them into this police state. But it's great analysis. Y'all should watch that. That's what I was thinking about when Kristen talked about, you were talking about controlling the masses with oppression. And that's how they do it. They know they can control us because they know they can take guns. They know that we'll stand down when they know that if something bad happens, we'll let people in Boston, we'll let them walk in our house and search our house and suspend our rights. And I'm completely against all of that all over the world, because that doesn't end in a good place. That ends in us all eating mud cakes. Carrie said, cool Jeep, are you out of gas? No. Sarah got a lot of gas. She understands. She knows what's coming. She's got gas in the back. This is going to a bunker or something, because we got to get the hell out of here. Only going to stay for a minute. Hopefully people figure it out. If not, I'll make sure I'm going to be okay. I personally have no interest in eating mud cakes and disasters and stuff. I let the ignorant politic sides fight over whatever they want to fight over. They don't figure it out soon enough and become human beings and get back on one same daggone page. The people who understand where this is going, they're gonna go take a vacation for a little while. Let y'all fight about your ignorance over who 1% of the 1% is the best. Sister Lynn said hockey is stupid. You know, I don't know if hockey is stupid. I think it's become a little too violent. I think, and a lot of sports do that. Like, we're pushing back to this time of accepting of Coliseum violence, and people, you know, and so every new sport gets more and more violent, and you've got your ultimate fighting and wrestling and stuff like that. I don't like to tell people what they should and shouldn't do in terms of sport, but it's not my thing, and I think the violence probably is a part of hockey now, you know, but my issue is when people are doing things to feed themselves, right? If you are engaging in ultimate fighting or engaging in hockey to feed your family or because you are poor, to me, it's no different than how they used to take the little Christian kids and put them in the Coliseums and let the dogs eat them. You know, they were unpopular, so they were poor, so they utilized them in that particular way. My issue with the Coliseums is how it's a 1% of a 1% way to have entertainment through the poor. That's the issue I have with sports, which is why I don't watch any sports. I don't give a damn about any of them. It's all Coliseum stuff, but I don't really get into like judging one Coliseum versus the other. I just think it should be entertainment of the 99% who aren't doing it for greed or wealth or poverty, but they're doing it because whatever it is that they love to do. And so that's my only issue with it, right? Decolonizing is difficult. Yeah, it is, Teresa. Decolonizing is difficult, but what easy thing is a good thing, right? Like, I think when we're tapped into our humanity, we do have to say, you know what, decolonizing will be difficult, but for me, I'm going to decide that this will be my smartphone that's going to last me 5 years. I will keep it with a cracked screen, and I'm not going to upgrade to the latest one, because I understand now that this all came from colonial times, and people are eating mud cakes because of it. And it's not just the Clinton Foundation that's the cause of this stuff, but we all participate in it, right? We all accept the greed system staying the way it is. So as bad as all of these foul people are, we all still are complicit in some of it to some degree. And I think when you can accept that wretchedness that we all have, then you can start to change, right? You can start to change. Let me show you this picture. Because if it's always this groupism thing for you, if it's always I'm good, they're bad, nothing will ever change. If it's always us versus them, then empathy can't have an introduction into an intellectual conversation. It's always going to be my group is good, your group is bad. And if we accept that we are all complicit in this society, we all played a part in making it worse, then we know we have to change. And that's when that urge comes over you to want to change, you know. So that's why, like I said, I don't, you know, I'll look at them and I'll say they're evil, but then I'll also look at how do I support that evil, right? Do I work for a corporation that works with them? Am I complicit with this greed-based system? Do I get behind groups or whatever initiatives that are positive and against this tribalism and against the, you know, which is the thing, right? Tribalism is the thing that actually is allowing the 1% to take the entire world, because people get in their little ignorant groups and they fight each other. And as long as they're fighting each other, they're not fighting the system. It's this whole strategy of getting people to hate the player, not the game. And we need to be smart enough to be hating on the game and stop hating on players in the game. And that's why I don't have any interest in any of these little mid-tier groups, whether it's white lives matter, black lives matter, yellow lives matter. How many lives matter? All lives matter. It's just that simple. And it's just not American lives, because that all lives matter probably means America. No, all lives all over the planet matter. And kids matter most. And nothing that hurts them is a good thing. And so we got to get past the tribalism. And when your group is wrong, you got to say they're wrong. It's something I posted the other day. I was thinking the other day. I said, you know, you need to be leftish when the right is wrong. And you need to be rightish when the left is wrong. And when they're both wrong, you need to use some common damn sense and call them both foul. Not be silent. Silent is a problem. Silent is being complicit. When they're both wrong, you call them both foul. And where they're both wrong is pretty much everywhere. I mean, there's little points. They get little stuff here and there. But for the most part, you can't have a sick greed-based system. And they all know this. And they all know the disaster and the problems that their system is calling all over the world. And they don't want to back down from it. They bow at the oligarch's table. Oh, that was long. Yeah, Teresa, take me down to some thoughts upon thoughts. We've been fed an inhumane, unloving living model. Yes, Sandra, and that's exactly the problem. We got to admit how sick this system is, how sick our daily lives are, our lifestyles. And to me, that's where there's a ray of hope, because we know this is wrong. We listen to people who have a right idea, and we start going in that direction. Right, not right, right? I didn't say right. Lola Mars said, sports contracts are the way out of the ghetto. Right. And, you know, if I'm growing up in a impoverished area, if it's in a trailer park in the Appalachian Mountains, or if it's in a ghetto and I didn't win the birth stork lottery that I did, I'm going to do anything I can to get out. And so this is where poverty, and that was a great example. Thank you, Lola Mar, is where, you know, poverty walks people into these coliseums. You know, you ever wonder why some of the best boxers on the planet come from the poorest ghettos and the poorest environments in the world? That's why. People do it for survival, and it's highly entertaining to the 1% of the 1%. And so if you give a damn about poor people, or you give a damn about moving forward, we got to get past this, get the poor people in the coliseums to fight. Even though they got $1 million now because they got a contract, they're still poor when you look at the $1 trillion, the 1% of 1% level. Get them in the Coliseum and get them to fight. That's why I'm not into sports. I'm not against people who are either. It's just that I see something different when I look at it. You know, I don't see the Olympic athlete who just is doing this as a progression. I see people who come out of starving, poor environments who are willing to beat the hell out of somebody or do anything that the 1% wants, push a ball around a rink or jump and chase it, for some really, really sick people. That's what I see, and that's why I'm not really that interested in sport. I played sports, but I'm not interested in that anymore. Not outside of, not to the professional level. I like kids sports, but short of that, that's where I stop. Average 22 vets kill themselves every day. Yes, they do, Lola Mar. And that's actually how I started. That's how I started live streaming. I don't know. Some of y'all might know that. That's how I started. It started with, I was doing my 22 push-ups for the troops that committed suicide. And I started talking to a lot of my friends who are troops and remembering what a lot of them said. And it just walked me down this path of, this has got to stop. Like, this is where the world is falling apart. No one is born a murderer. Thank you, Lola Mar. We're all born silly putty. If y'all know what silly putty is, we're just silly putty, and our environments form us into, well, you know, it's everything, right? It's nature, nurture, and the environment, but they form us into monsters, or they form children into really productive, phenomenal little creatures that will make sure we grow old and live well, or we don't grow old at all. You know, because most scientists agree that we're actually at a point where the kids being born now, a lot of them, they'll live to be 1,000 years old. So we're already there. Medical science is in that place, not medicine, chemical science, but medical science is in the place. Like we were talking about last weekend, the whole, basis of transporter technology and faxing a human being, we're already there. You get that, right? I don't know if people understand that we've already done those experiments where they've taken DNA, they've recorded the electromagnetic signal from DNA, they've put it into a digital file, transferred it over the internet, and just somehow played that digital signal back, electromagnet signal back into a vial of base elements, and it actually formed the DNA. Now, I don't know if it was the DNA that was on the other side, which is a great debate, which is why people should be talking about this, because the DNA from the person on the other side is already changed. So that person is now not in the new Petri dish. He's still over there, but who he was is now in the new Petri dish in that French university where they did that. And it's crazy, but we are at times of crazy technology. And this is why I tell people, and when I focus on technology, we don't have a whole lot of time for this. There is crazy world-ending technology being played with that we don't know a damn thing about in the 99%. And they only give us little indications of it, I think, after they realize they got transporters working for the military. Now they're faxing Jeeps and they're faxing people from one place to another. Then they'll let it out into the public domain, which is why I say, again, governments can't have any secrecy. And that's got to be a fervent sticking point of the 99%, is that no leadership, no government anywhere on this planet, and certainly not corporations and laboratories, they can't have secrecy. And once again, when you take the greed out, when you take that competitive model of fighting over who can be the wealthiest, when you take that out, they don't have a reason for secrets. They don't have to be working on some top secret GMO technology that actually ends up destroying the natural world in a lab because they need to beat another corporation out and making it. They can open source everything, but we have to be smart enough as a 99% to know this doesn't end well. We need to listen to Sarah. This is not going to end well, and we need to make some changes. All right, let me go. Yeah, Lionel Nation. I love it. He's got a great podcast. Lionel's another deep brother. I love him. I think he's an out of the box thinker. He's a critical thinker, and that's who we need to be listening to. We need to listen to people who are different from us, who are utilizing critical thought, because they expose you to new ideas. If you stay within your own community, you're going to stay as stupid as you are. Not stupid, just you won't evolve in the ways that you need to. You won't be exposed to those new ideas. Sister Gabrielle said social engineering happening every day. Yes, social engineering. When you start to look back at what these laws are for, a lot of the laws, they're just for social engineering. They're just pushing the cattle from pen to pen to pen to pen, judging their responses and seeing how stupid they are and how much milk they can take from them, how much drugs they can give them to make more milk, but we're on this big, massive dairy farm. We're all just cattle. Next time we need to stand up to their testing. Yes, Mary. And which is why after Boston happened, I was like, what the hell is wrong with you people? You were supposed to say, no, you can't come in my house. Hell no. You got a bomber running around the city and some people say it's a false flag, but you got a bomber running around the city. First of all, why is there a bomber running around the city? Oh, because y'all's doing dumb stuff, bombing other people's countries. Oh, that's your problem. You need to fix that. You need to be smart enough and we don't do that. If we actually push the buck back their direction and said, no, I'm not giving up my rights. You give up your ignorance. You give up your bombing the whole world. I'm not going to give you can't come in my house, look at my panty drawers. No. But we didn't do that. No, you can't have my, and of course it go bad for grandma and Katrina. No, you can't have my pistol. And the pistol goes off and grandma gets shot and whatever. But when that happens, people get mad. Wait a minute, y'all went in there to fight grandma to take her gun in a time where people were running around the city rioting and she couldn't feel safe. And so you took her gun and you killed her, or she got shot while you struggled with her taking her gun. That's what the Pope was talking about to the Chile, why he had a bowl of chili down in Chile. That's what he was talking about the other day. When people see that, empathy comes, and that's how you win hearts and minds, is through peace and nonviolence. Not that grandma was being out. I don't know. She was being pretty peaceful. I was one of them I watched. She threw it. I don't know. They were struggling. I couldn't really tell the camera, but the cop and her were on the road. My point is, police officers shouldn't be rolling on the floor with grandma trying to take her gun. But if something happened, that's when people look and say, whoa, y'all not supposed to be doing this. You know, and that's got to be our response. When Boston happened, no, you shouldn't be going to people's house. That's their right. If they want to let you in their house to look around, then that's fine. Short of that, you need to get a warrant. Like, that's how laws work. But people have to stand up for rights and stop being so scared of everything. You know, terrorists don't hate you. They hate the fact that people are in their country murdering them, their kids, and taking their resources. They don't hate you. At least not most of them. They turn some of them into psychopaths. They're just as crazy as the people bombing them. Carrie thought that was Jane Fonda driving. No, that's Sarah Connor. Girl, Sarah Connor. By the way, if Carrie, if anybody knocks on your door, ask if you're Sarah Connor, say no, I ain't Sarah. That's not me. If anybody knock on your door, because they can change shapes too. Oh, and that's some other technology. It's crazy technology. Y'all know that they got the technology where they formed the Terminator. This is crazy. It's insane. Where they formed the Terminator, where they got the little balls. It was metal. It was like aluminum, and it made the Terminator in the later version. You know they have that, right? Now, mind you, the balls, I think they're only like an inch or something, but they got the computing power of a small PC where they actually work together as a collective and they can form different shapes. And if this is in a public domain, I have to find that video. I'm going to post it. But if they form different shapes, that actually is the beginning of that Terminator technology. So they got shape-shifting, crazy stuff. So anyway, bottom line, somebody come to your door. I hope it's not at the genetic level, the biological level. But if somebody comes to your door, they ask you if you're Sarah, Carrie, just say no. I don't know no Sarah. Nope. I don't live here. They ask if you're Carrie too, say you're not Carrie. Say, no, my name's Larry. What you talking about? I used to be a man. I didn't change. I had a sex change. Oh, gosh. All right. Let me see what's down here. I see a few more comments, then I'm going to run out of here. Mary said, runaway technology, who's really in control? And that's kind of my point in it. It's you know, we can choose to be control of technology, or we can continue to let the most ignorant, evil people on the planet use it. Like, you know, they can use that technology to take some goo and make it form a gun to go murder somebody, or we can use that technology to form some sort of a medical instrument to save somebody's life. There was a great thing. There was a drone rescue I saw where the first drone rescue of someone drowning happened. If you ever watched the movie The Circle, that's what it was basically, you know, where, you know, someone's drowning, lifeguard has a drone, can send a drone up and drop a life preserver down to a person. Like, to me, that's the technology that's needed. These are the things that we need to force companies to be making, not murder technology. And it really is just a choice. We got to drop our Russian racism. We got to drop the left-right hate, the liberal, conservative, whatever. We need to be liberty-focused when liberty's needed, and we need to be conserving when we need to pull things back. Like, that was, and I'm still kind of thinking through this thought, but you know, we evolve slowly over time, being liberty, you know, push forward with progress. You know, that's the wrong word, progressive. Push forward with progress in some areas, at some times, and then we need to be conserving at other times. You know, like the example I would give is we need to be progressive when it comes to taking technology and utilizing it for people, not for war. We need to be conservative when it comes to GMOs and vaccines and things, and we need to pull back. And so we should never be in like creepy land where we're consistently a progressive or a conservative. We need to look at a topic, look at the facts. Do the people even know what they're talking about? Do they even know how the human immune system works? And then make a decision based on those facts. If you should be if that's a topic humanity should be progressive and push forward on, or if it's a topic we should be conserving and pull back on because we don't really know what we're doing. And nuclear technology is one of them. All right. Oh, and 3D printing. Yeah, I love it. 3D printing is everything. I mean, the fact that you can 3D print something, and the scary thing is now so you can 3D print the little balls that can form different shapes and stuff, and then they can change shape to whatever they want. And all of this, it is funny. And I'm putting my UFO stuff in there for just a moment. It's not the weekend, but I'm gonna put it in there for just a moment. And so these people who see UFOs, the Mexican government, where they see the UFOs changing shapes. You ever seen that video? A couple of them, and they change shapes. It's not UFOs. I mean, think about it. Like, think about the craziness of that. So, you know, it doesn't make no sense. It's crazy. Things can't change shape. That don't make no damn sense. You didn't see no UFO. Now we know things can change shapes. We know that our government has these types of technologies. We know that they've been working on it. Whether the UFO was there and it disappeared, things can't disappear. That's just dumb. You stupid. Fax machines don't never be invented. You won't never invent no wheel. Now we know things can disappear. We have invisibility cloaks. And so this is why I'm saying you got to be open-minded when you look at things. That's why I never denounce anybody. Like, they say stuff like, oh, yeah, you saw a Bigfoot? Oh, you saw that? Oh, okay. You know, it's possible, you know, but, you know, and because I think when you accept the fact that a lot of this stuff is just technology we've never been exposed to, then when it happens, you don't worship it, right? You don't make it a god. It's just technology. But you got to be open-minded and critical thinking and get out of your ism, atheism, Christianism, Judaism, blackism, whiteism, whatever, Palestinianism, Israelism, and just say, you know what? And you know, and that's the last thing I'm gonna close on. The thing I saw is a lot of the social media accounts. No, they're the social media accounts that they were closing. A lot of them were people in Israel who were critical of the Israel government. Think about that. Think about that this weekend. I don't know. I want to talk about some Antarctica, some Bigfoots this weekend, but I don't know. I don't know about Bigfoot, but Antarctica, I don't know. I'm going to talk about something fun this weekend. But think about that. If you still think that people in Israel actually want their Zionist government doing what it does, if you think that they're evil because they are attached to a religion or they were born there, you're probably as crazy as they are. There are a lot of people who have gotten their social media accounts taken because they live in Israel and they say anti-Israel government stuff. There's a rapper that does that. So again, 99% perspective. Always have a 99% perspective. People are not nuts by solar radiation, their skin color, their religion, where they were born. People are nuts because they live around nutty people probably. But most importantly is tap into that 90% everywhere you can. Tap into 99. You know, you can go back to grouping up later, y'all. Y'all can go back to being tribal, whatever you want to be in the future when we pull this world back. But right now, y'all, we don't have time for it. We don't have time for it. We don't have a whole lot of time left, and the technology they're playing with, it's going to land our kids eating mud cakes. And I personally don't find any of that funny. Anyway, love y'all to death. Y'all have a great weekend. If I don't see you for crazy talks or sustainability talks, and y'all have a good day.